originated in West Jackson, grew up in South Jackson. Literally, I grew up in the dirt right across the street from the Mazzios. I did my amateur for 11 years and then 2 years pro, and got to enjoy that life and everything. But that really inspired me to go do the stores. I started the company with $150 in 1988. Even while I was touring, I would be selling t-shirts on the bleachers of the BMX races. And I drove to a screen print shop in Ridgeland, placed an order. Lady says, honey, I'll print your little t-shirt order. Maybe I'll need a job one day. And we had a laugh. She's pregnant and all that. She was just trying to get finished print. 8 years later, she came around the company. It gets crazier. 10 years ago, that in utero child came and worked at our company for 2 years. That's how Swellophonic eventually started as Studio Chane with t-shirts and skateboards and screen printing in the back. And then eventually we realized, hey, real estate's cheap in the neighborhood, so we can expand out Studio Skates. It became Swell, and then it became Swellophonic. Over our 23-year span, our day one, we were a skate shop, beginnings of a shoe store, t-shirt shop, screen printer in the back. I always knew, maybe it was a shortness of confidence, but I always knew that you just don't put your eggs in one basket. You make yourself multifaceted and you go forward in multiple ways. I didn't go in multiple ways in which I was talented by any means. I went in multiple ways in which I was always interested. One thing that I've been fortunate enough to have is dumb enough to be dangerous and too stupid to quit. I've lived for 18 years. I lived back and forth in New York and in Brooklyn. I've lived in London. I've lived in 14 cities since I was a teenager. My address is Jackson, Mississippi. There's a lot of people to collaborate with, artists and musicians. Wasn't there a guy like, what was his name, Elvis? Jimmy Duck Holmes. You got that kind of talent that inspires you and say, you know what, Jackson's a pretty good place to be, even if the talent's not immediately located here. You hit it on the head. I really didn't pay attention to music till I was 14. Cutting my teeth on the beginnings of REM, Murmur and Reckoning, Fear, Henry Rollins, Black Flag. Even on the softest, wimpiest side of Duran Duran, I was understanding and really forming an opinion of love for music, but nothing ever impacted me musically until I'd heard the first song, Cherub Rock, from the Smashing Pumpkins. In 1993, I was 23 years old, and I heard it when I was living in Pensacola Beach. That was the first point where I understood that music could influence my creative in a way that if I was not listening to music, I couldn't go where I was going with that. I'm trying to become a visual artist. I cannot paint without having music on. Sold a piece, guy just picked it up. He's like, man, I've got another piece of yours and I've seen some other pieces that you sold, but man, you were really aggressive on this piece. What made you so aggressive? I was like, I was listening to Kim Gordon on this one. Jackson has a strong resource of creative people, artistic and musical culture. I feel like it's a badge of honor in saying that I started in South Jackson. So I'm bragging on it. I am from South Jackson. Almost 33 years later and being in business, 23 years with brick and mortar stores, and I'm still here to keep it South Jackson real.